It is chapel time. Make lots and lots of noise if you're excited for chapel today. Yes. We love chapel days. We love chapel days. Let's start with, I have one little housekeeping note here. This is for kiddos, like to kind of hear. I don't really know what you're going to do about it, but mostly for parents. Parents, we know that the end of day, like if you're here, getting your kid can be a little squirrely. So you are going to be able to take your kids from here in chapel with you if you want. Just kind of ease up some of that process. If you communicate that earlier in the day and then at the end of chapel with your student's teacher, there's gonna, if they need to, like if you're a grandparent or someone else, make sure you're on the pickup list, but then you can grab your student from chapel here and take them with you. I was hoping there'd be like a big applause from the parents or something, but make it, yes, I'm just teasing. Today is exciting. We are going to start just a little 2-week series. I'm going to speak today, and Mrs. Patel's going to speak next week. We'd love it when Mrs. Patel comes and speaks. And this little series is going to be called Find Your Peeps. Okay? Find your peeps. Not like the actual like little smushy peeps things, right? But like find your people. It's going to be kind of this idea of how do we be a good friend. And so these are going to be things that, there we go. See, find your peeps. So we're going to kind of have some things where we can put into practice for what does it look like to be a good friend to our friends, because raise your hand if you want good friends. And raise your hand if you want to be a good friend. Yes, I saw all the hands stay up both times. That's what we were hoping for. Good. And that's going to help, like we talked about a few weeks ago, our community kind of function like the Lord wants it to. Now, I have something kind of fun. I have some people to introduce you to, some friends of mine. I'm going to have them come up now. This is our 6th grade student council. Come on up. You don't have to be afraid. Okay, we've got a big group of them this year, which makes sense because we have a big group of 6th graders. I'm going to let them introduce themselves real quick. 1st graders, maybe you see your buddy up here. So if you see your buddy, you can wave to them. 6th graders, if you see your buddy, you can wave to them, right? They are going to tell you their name and whose homeroom they're in, and kind of what their job is on student council. And then we're going to do something kind of special here.
And, oh geez. Hi, my name's Noah, and I'm Mrs. Jones' class rep.
Hi, my name is Bowen, and I'm chapel committee, and I'm from Miss Jones' class.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey Estes, and I'm chaplain, and I'm from Miss Jones' class.
Hi, my name is Charlie Byer, and I'm Mrs. Steffens' class rep.
Hi, my name is Graham Hall. I am in Ms. Steffens' class, and I am vice president.
Hello, I am Charlie Gremling, and I am part of Mrs. Steffens' class, and I'm part of chapel committee.
Hello, my name's LT Butson. I'm in Miss Jones' class, and I'm a chapel committee.
Hi, my name's Daniel Menezes. I'm in Miss Steffens' class, and I'm in chapel committee.
Hello, my name is Bethany Humphreys. I'm in Mrs. Jones' classroom, and I'm on chapel committee.
Hi, my name is Molly Strayer. I'm in Mrs. Steffens' homeroom, and I'm the 6S class representative.
Hi, I'm Eliana, and I'm in Miss Steffens' homeroom, and I'm part of chapel committee.
Hi, my name is Casey Jones. I'm in Mrs. Jones' classroom, and I'm the 6th grade president.
And my name's Mr. Butson, and sorry, I don't know. So this is 6th grade student council. Some of them were voted to student council by their classmates. Some of them got to fill out an application and say, hey, I would love to be on student council. And we kind of looked through those and prayed through, hey, who would be a great fit? And this is the crew that we came up with. And so this is a crew that helps us make decisions for chapel. You'll see them up here sometimes. We talk to them about, hey, how do things feel in our school and what's going well? What can we work on together? So they play an important part in the leadership of Troy Christian Elementary. Now, I know that they all look super friendly anyway, but I really wanted you guys to get to know them like at a deep, intimate level. And the best way to do this is to have them tell you their favorite dad joke. How else would we find out deep personal information about them? Okay? So, we're gonna go right down the line. If it's funny, laugh. If it's not funny, laugh and make them feel better. Okay? I didn't say, they didn't hear that. Okay? So, Casey, start us out.
What are the strongest days of the week? Saturday and the Sunday. The rest are weekdays.
Why was the broom late to class? It overswept.
What did the ocean say to the beach? Nothing, it just waved.
Why do you call a seagull? Because if it flew over the bay, then it'd be called a bagel.
So I asked my dog what's 2 minus 2, and he said nothing.
Knock, knock. Theodore. Theodore bell doesn't work. Let me in.
Can I tell you a paper joke? Never mind. It's terrible.
Why does a golfer bring extra pairs of socks in case he gets a hole in one?
I saw my vacuum cleaner today. It was just collecting dust.
Why did Han Solo not eat his steak dinner? It was chewy.
Why can't a nose be 12 feet long? Because it would be a foot.
I like your guys' ceiling. It's not the best one I've seen, but it's up there.
All right, give it up for these guys. Thank you, student council. You guys can head on down to your seats. See, don't you just feel like you know them so much better now? Clearly. Okay, can you guys give it up for Mrs. Long for Student in the Sonlight?
Who told the foot joke? Who told the foot joke? Was that Bowen? Bowen, I like your joke. Who was the last one to go? Noah, you have perfect delivery. Yes, I liked all the jokes. They were very good. All right, join me up here on stage if you are in first grade and your name is Jameson. Come on down. What about Adam W? Second grade, we have Grayson L. Gabriel M. Third grade, Will S. Join me up here. And Violet T. First through third, you can move all the way down here. We'll split you up this time by first through third and fourth through sixth. And remember, the kindergarten student in the Sonlight get recognized in their class. So it gives them a year to watch before they have to come up on stage. All right, first graders, step up here with me. And first we have Jameson, and Jameson's teacher writes that he is courteous and kind to everyone, and that his maturity goes way above his years. He goes out of his way to be courteous and kind, and we love that around here, don't we? Will you give it up for Jameson? We're so glad you're here. We have Adam. Adam is responsible and is showing self-control, and his smile is contagious. Will you give it up for Adam? All right, first grade, you can step back here, and I'll have the second graders come up here with me. We have Grayson right here, and actually both of these fellas are new to TC this year. Grayson's teacher said that he is already showing leadership. Students are looking to him for the example that he shows, and that is no surprise to me. I saw that in you the first time I met you, Grayson. Your teacher said that your love of Christ is so evident, and a quote that summarizes you already in her eyes is, no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. And we're thankful that you're here. Will you give it up for Grayson? Gabriel, right here, is like a Lego masterpiece. The strength of the build comes from each piece being there on purpose. And Ephesians 2:10 says that you are God's masterpiece. So not only a Lego masterpiece, but one that was created by God. Will you give it up for Gabriel? And you guys can step back. And I'll switch over to third grade. We have Will right here. Will is welcoming and kind. He was able to welcome a new student before school even started and make that student feel a part of TC. Showed him around upstairs. And Romans 15:7 says, welcome one another like I have welcomed you. So what Will did is scriptural. It's in the Bible. So thank you for walking out God's word. Will you give it up for Will? Look at your buddy standing up for you back there. Do you see him? This is Violet. Oh, I should have had you two stand forward. I'm sorry. Okay. This is Violet, and Violet's teacher said that she received a special gift at the beginning of school. And as I was reading her student in the Sonlight, I thought Mrs. Platfoot was going to say, you were the gift. And you are. But you also gave her a gift. And I think you gave me one too, didn't you? Did you give me one too? A bracelet to help us remember the year verse. And I didn't know who the bracelet was from. Each letter is the word, is the first letter of each word in our year verse. And I was trying to figure out what this bracelet was. I thought, did a student make this for me? And it was just all their leftover letters. So I'm so glad to have that mystery solved. And thank you very much. I was wearing it every day trying to remember or trying to find the student who gave it to me. So thank you. She said that you are a special gift and you're a thoughtful and loving young lady. Will you give it up for the 1st through 3rd grade student in the Sonlight? You guys can head back to your seats. Good job. You'll get your certificate from your teacher, okay? All right, 4th through 6th. Come on down. Dalton B. Avery B. 5th grade, we have Briley B. Ida Rose. 6th grade, we have Casey J, Braylon P, and Mira W. Was it a surprise? You already knew? Are you surprised? Are you ladies surprised? I love it when it's a surprise. They just didn't see, none of them seemed surprised. Oh, yeah, okay, good. All right, 4th grade. Come on down. Dalton is kind and a godly friend. He shows care for others by how he treats them and he prays for them. And this young man shows a maturity in his love for Christ and his love for other people. And we're so glad you're here, Dalton. Will you give it up for him? This is Miss Avery right here, and your teacher started your student in the Sonlight by talking about coffee. So, of course, she had my attention. I didn't realize this until recently, but when you look on a bag of coffee, it will tell you what notes, especially fancier coffee, it will tell you what notes are in the coffee. So it could have peach or chocolate or maple. And so she said if you were a bag of coffee, you would have notes of attentiveness and responsibility, tenderheartedness, organization, all combined together with servantness, she said. And that's your coffee description. And so those are all things we recognize in Avery. Will you give it up for her? Plus that winning smile. All right, 4th grade, you can step back. 5th grade, girls, come on up. This is Briley, and she is described as every teacher's dream. I could just drop the microphone right there. Every teacher's dream. She is responsible and organized and diligent, but above all of that, she's humble. She shows humility. Philippians 2:13 says, value others above yourself, and that's what Miss Briley does. Will you give it up for her? Ida Rose is tender-hearted, and she has a noticeable love of the Lord. And I want to tell you a real quick story. There was a 3rd grader who came in this year and very upset and worried. And Ida Rose is one who notices these kinds of things and goes to that person's side and comforts them in a way that doesn't make them feel uncomfortable. She does it very quietly, and she does it in no way to draw attention to herself. And that's a really special thing to make someone feel a part of a family and a community. Will you give it up for Ida Rose? Don't even know I see all these things, do you? They don't even know all the things I see. 6th graders, come on this way. Casey, I'm saving you for last because there's a song that I have to sing. So let me get myself ready. Okay, Mira, your teacher wrote a poem for you, and she used the letters of your name. So let me just tell you what the letters of your name stand for. M in Mira is modest. She is pure, and she has an inner beauty and an outer beauty. The I is integrity. Integrity is when you do the right thing and no one's watching. R for respect. She respects adults and her peers and other students. A is for admirable. You know someone has the quality of admirability when other people want to be around them. Will you give it up for Mira? Did you know that about yourself? Yes. Braylon is new this year, but what his teacher says is you'd think he was a TC lifer because he is already demonstrating our school motto of R2G2, our core values of R2G2. Respect, responsibility, gratitude, genuineness. And I think you know, if you don't already know, genuineness is my favorite. And that is when you are yourself. He is not only himself, but he's ready to serve with his whole self. And you may not have been here since kindergarten, but you're a TC lifer now. Will you give it up for Braylon? Means you're going to stay and graduate. Okay, here we go. Casey is recognized for using her gifts to bless others. And one of those gifts is her voice. So her teacher, also known as Mom, wrote a short song to help you remember why you should sing. And it's to the tune of Jesus Loves Me. Tender kindness is a trait that I see on Casey's plate. God has blessed you with a voice. Singing out is a great choice. Yes, Casey, sing. Yes, Casey, sing. Yes, Casey, sing to bless those around. Okay, yeah, until the end. Okay, give it up for 4th through 6th. You guys can go back to your seats. All right, to welcome up the person giving the message today, Mr. B, I'm going to ask you questions, and the answer is Mr. B. Okay? Who do we love? Who loves God? Who do we want to get up here on stage and give us the message for chapel?
I got a little nervous on the last one, if I was honest. Mrs. Long, I wrote Student in the Sonlights for 12 years and never knew that we could set you up to have to sing. I feel like twice. feel like I've totally missed out. We'll have to try to make this happen. Okay, so today we're talking Find Your Peeps. Like always, I have a story, but this isn't a story about me. This is a story about one of my favorite characters in the Bible. Okay, raise your hand if you have heard of a dude named Jonathan in the Bible. Okay, lots of hands. If you haven't heard about him, that is A-okay. You're going to get some of his story today. Okay, but Jonathan was a guy who his dad was the king. Okay, his dad was King Saul. So Jonathan, what word would we kind of use for Jonathan's title? Like prince, kind of. I don't know if they actually used that title back then, but prince, right? He was a super important dude. And so Jonathan, with his dad being the king, you better believe that this dude was decked out. Okay, so like back then, it would have looked a little different than now, clearly, but like he's got a cool shirt on. He's got this fancy robe, right? It's got like fancy colors on it and fancy trim, right? Decked out robe. Not like get out of the shower robe. Like this is the robe that he wore around all the time. He's got this big, sweet leather belt on it. Not like belt buckle that would have gone with Dalton's get up today. That dude looked fresh, right? But like big, fancy leather belt that showed, that he is royalty. He had a sword in that belt, right? And he would pull that thing out and it would go shing. Because every good sword, if we're honest, has to go shing. Everybody do it. You ready? Shing. Oh, just like that, right? And this wasn't just like their version of a Walmart sword, right? Okay, like this thing, a sword had to be balanced just right so someone could use it well. Like this was a sword basically for the king he would be someday. And then he had this bow for a bow and arrow. Right? And again, this wasn't like he went out to a tree one day and my kids will like find a tree branch on the floor, on the ground and like, hey dad, can you turn this into a bow and arrow for me? And I'm like, of course, because I'm a dad. And so I tie a string and it doesn't do anything, right? But like this was a beautiful bow. And best of all is not even all the stuff he had. He would have sweet sandals, like whatever Jordans were for sandals back then. Right? That's what's on his feet. And it wasn't like all the cool stuff that made it special. He was going to be the king someday. When Saul died, Jonathan was probably next in line to be king. This is like amazing stuff. Jonathan's future is set for him. And then one day, someone comes in, they're like, hey, yo, Jonathan, do you remember that dude David? And Jonathan's like, well, yeah, he's the dude who he fights for my dad. He plays the harp. He's like, my dad freaks out sometimes. And so Jonathan plays the harp. He's like, bring, bring. It sounded exactly like that, I'm pretty sure. He'd play the harp and it would like chill my dad out. Like harp dude, Jonathan? He's like, yeah. Or harp dude David? He's like, yeah, harp dude David just killed Goliath. Jonathan's like, what? Okay, just like that, right? He's surprised by this. And they're like, yeah, they're singing songs about David right now. They're saying yeah, Saul is the man. He killed 1,000 people. Yeah. But they're like, but David, he's the dude. He killed like tens of thousands of people. And Jonathan has a couple ways to process this, right? He might be like, oh, this David dude's getting pretty popular. People might like him more than me. I'm going to keep my eye on this dude. Or maybe he gets a little nervous. He's like, oh, I haven't killed any giants lately. I mean, it is only Thursday, but maybe my dad will like Jonathan more. Maybe my dad will like David more than me. Or maybe he could have thought, oh, maybe I should be buddy, I should come down here and be like buddy to David, right? Because then I'm cooler by association, just because I can sit next to David, right? But no, something funny happens when David comes back, we see in 1 Samuel where we see this story where it says, after David had finished talking with Saul, he had just killed Goliath, okay, and had a conversation with Saul. It says, after David had finished talking with Saul, Jonathan became one in spirit with David, right? Two dudes, now one in spirit. So basically they are super tight. And it says, and he, Jonathan, loved David as himself. And Jonathan made a covenant or a promise with David because he loved him as himself. And Jonathan took off, catch this, he took off the robe he was wearing, that fancy robe. And he took off his tunic, right? That'd be like his fancy shirt underneath it, along with his sword and his bow and his belt. And he gave it all to David. Right? This is kind of, some of you like, why would he give him the belt? That sounded sweet. Right? Anybody like really jealous of that belt right now? Okay. Some of you are like, Mr. B, like, a belt is what I need for my outfit today. Okay. But Jonathan gave up what he had to honor his friend. But here's the thing. Everything that Jonathan gave to David were his like princely, royal things. I don't know if Jonathan knew that David was supposed to be king someday. David had already been anointed and told, hey, you're going to be the king of Israel someday. I don't know if Jonathan knew that or not. I don't know if Jonathan knew that David was taking his spot in his future. Whether he knew it or not, Jonathan did this. He was willing to do this for David. Has anyone ever done something like super duper kind for you? Anybody? Give me a thumbs up. Has anybody ever done something super kind for you? Now, I'm not just talking like conveniently kind, like, you know, they have a 12-pack of Oreos and they give you one. It's still thoughtful. I mean, it's an Oreo, right? Like, that's a big deal. But like super go out of their way generous with you. Or has a friend ever made sure that you were happy, even though it means they might miss out on something they want to do? Has a friend given you something that was really important to them, but they knew that it would mean a lot to you? You know, maybe that's happened, maybe it hasn't. But let's take a look at a couple of verses here, and we're going to compare them and see where they're similar. We're going to take a look at maybe why Jonathan did this. Now, some of these words that we're going to look at were written a long time after Jonathan. Okay, but Jonathan already lived them out even before they were written. We're going to actually take a look first at the section of Samuel that I already read. I'm going to read it again, and I want you to listen for things that might be the same. And if you can read the screen, you can take a look at the words up there. Here we go. You don't have to read it. I'm going to read it. After David had finished talking with Saul, Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him as himself. And Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as himself. Did you hear anything that got repeated in there? Anything? Charlie, what got repeated? Right, this idea that Jonathan loved David as he loved himself. And this is going to show up now in the New Testament. There's going to be this fancy pants dude who shows up and talks to Jesus. He's like, hey, Jesus, what's the greatest commandment? Because I know the answer and I'm trying to trap you. And Jesus, who's like a Jedi at answering these questions, kind of brings it. He says, Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and the greatest commandment. And the second commandment is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. Did you hear that get repeated again in there? As yourself. See, when God created people, when he made us, he assumed that we were going to take care of ourselves. That's why it's really sad when we see people who either are hurting themselves or not taking care of themselves, because God, you are created by God. And he assumes that, not in a selfish way, but you're going to look out for your own well-being. So let's run a scenario here. When you get home from school today, you are going to be hungry. Who's going to be hungry? I am hungry still every day after school, and I need an after-school snack. I'm embarrassed to say kind of how many times I ruined my dinner because I ate too much after school. Okay? But you're going to go home, and you're going to get a snack. You know why? Because you're hungry and you take care of yourself. Great job. Look at that. You're going to accomplish something today. Let's run it again. If you get bored this weekend, you're going to turn on the TV, go jump on the trampoline, go play outside, play some video games. You're going to do something to not be bored because you're going to take care of yourself. You guys are so good. I know you're going to do these things. Older kids, 5th and 6th graders. Let's say you're chilling tonight. It's getting a little late. You're going to turn on a movie, so you chill out you sit on the couch, you kick your legs out. Oh, you're like, okay, here we go. And you realize that it's Friday night and you have not taken a shower, and it does not smell great. What are you going to do? Some of you are going to take a shower to take care of yourself, and some of you are going to go put on a sweatshirt so you don't have to smell yourself because you think that that's how you're taking care of it. Either way, you're trying to take care of the issue in the best way that you know how to in the moment. Okay, I know how some of you work. Okay. You will do the things that you need to do in order to take care of yourself. And I know that you would do a lot of these things for your friends too. But Jonathan saw this from a different angle. And he decided that he was going to give big. All right, so let's kind of bring these scenarios back a little bit. Let's say you're hanging with a friend and food is involved. Friends and food, let's just be honest, that's one of the best situations in life, right? That is straight from the Lord, friends and food, okay? Let's say you guys are hanging out and getting a friend a snack, right? You walk over to the pantry, grab them a snack, hand it to them. Super easy, right? What about actually making your friend a sandwich because you know they're like for real hungry? You could probably still do that. You would still do that because you like your friends, but that takes a little bit more energy and you need to decide to do that. But here we go. This is the big ask. What about giving your friend the white box that is still taped shut that you just got the day before from Grandpa Joe's? I know. You're just like, oh, Mr. B, you're convicting me right now, right? Yes, that's the Holy Spirit working in your life. Let's go another direction. How many of you like going on long road trips? Long road trips, anybody? Okay. Some of you are like, worst thing I could ever do. Let's say your friend is going on a road trip. They have to drive like clear out to Nebraska to visit their second great Aunt Hilda, because I don't know how many people have one great Aunt Hilda, but I don't know. I'm not even going to go there, but you know your friend's going to be bored in the car. You could lend them a book. Easy enough? Yes, lending them a book is super easy. What about lending them your brand new Nintendo Switch game? If you don't have a Switch, just roll with me here, right? That would take some convincing, but I'm confident that you could get yourself there. Okay, you could do that. All right, here we go. Now I make you uncomfortable. What would it take for you to lend them your Nintendo Switch itself with all the games for their road trip? Yeah, we struck a chord. This is hard. Shh. I know, these are hard things to think about. Here's what Jonathan saw. Jonathan didn't just give the things that he had at his disposal, right? Yes, he gave physical things to David, but these were identity pieces. These were things about who he was. Jonathan gave who he was to his friend David. Jonathan was supposed to be the next king, but he gave all of his kingly things to the next king. Jonathan gives us this awesome example of someone who's going to love their neighbor as themselves. Not just giving, again, of the things he had, but of who he was. So here we go. Just to make it clear, I am not telling you that you need to lend your Switch to someone who's going on a road trip. And everybody in here is like, oh, God. I thought he was like serious about that. No. But let's talk about what this does look like, okay? Where can we start? What would it look like to be a friend who you give more than you take? How can you give your best so that someone else feels honored? Instead of you wanting that place of honor, how do you make sure someone else feels loved and respected and honored? What if we take some baby steps? Here's like a really practical, practice thing. They say that you practice something for a while before it becomes just something you do all the time. What if someday, whether it was to school or something you're doing with a friend, what if you brought 2 snacks with you? One of them was your most favorite snack in the whole world. Picture it, right? Do you have your snack? All right, some of you have it. What if you brought your favorite snack and then like an okay snack, right? You're not going to complain. But you brought your favorite snack just so you could give it to somebody as a practice of giving your best to someone else. What if at recess you played what someone else wanted to play because they wanted to, even though that is like the game that you like playing the least? What if you offered, I know, I'm going to hit home here. What if you offered to do your siblings' chores for them so that they could play longer? Before bed or before dinner, before it was time to come in to play? Those are some little practice things. Just to start living out this idea of not just giving the little things we have, but giving from the joy and the people that God made us to be. What if this was just like a TC kid kind of thing? We see a lot of you doing this, especially when there's new kids. Some of you new kids, you have felt this and experienced this from kids here at TC this year. What if we tried to outgive and outlove and out-honor one another? What if we loved others like ourselves? And rather than loving others just enough that they have what they need, or just enough so that they love us back, what if we loved others with all of us? I don't know. What can you do? I want you to be thinking this weekend, what can you do next week to show that love to people? Let's pray and ask God to help us do that. God, we thank you for today. I thank you for everybody in here, that we can be here for chapel. And God, we thank you for the example that we have in the Bible of Jonathan, a normal person who gave of himself, gave of his future and who he was for his friend David. We thank you for the example that Jesus gave of loving beyond himself. Help us to be friends who do that, who want to outlove and outgive each other, God. Even when it's hard, even when it's big stuff, but because that's what you call us to, and because we love our friends and our classmates and our teachers and the people who are hard to love. Please keep this on our hearts and minds this week. Be with us as we go into worship right now. We love you, and everybody said, Amen. Why don't you stand up where you are for worship?
I'm caught up in your presence. I just wanna sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. I never wanna leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything more than anything that you can do. I just want you. And I'm sorry when I've just gone through the motions. I'm sorry when I've just sang another song. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. I'm sorry when I've come with my agenda. I'm sorry when I forgot that you're enough. So take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. Oh, I'm caught up in your presence. I just wanna sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy A victory dance, I will dance out in faith. I will crush disappointment and break every chain. All of my fear I will turn into praise. Shake off despair as I sing out your name. A victory dance, I will dance out of faith. I will crush disappointment and break every chain. All of my fear I will turn into praise. Shake off despair as I sing out your name. A victory dance, I will dance out of faith. I will crush disappointment. Yeah. Show me one thing he can't do. Show me a mountain he can't move. He's the God of your breakthrough, and anything is possible. Show me one thing that's too hard. Show me waters he can't part. He's the God of your breakthrough, and anything is possible. It's possible. Oh, anything is possible. Anything is possible.
Yes, thank you. I love it when Sydney Taylor's here and Scott Smith. So in 4th grade, someone asked me who Margot's favorite person was, and I said, well, me. But when she started school, her favorite person was Sydney Taylor, because they sat next to each other in kindergarten, and then at day 3, they got moved apart. And then they had to move them apart. And then the next year, they weren't together. But then the year after that, they were. And then they weren't. And then they were. And then, yeah, all even years they were together. It was cute. 4th grade. Did you see one of your spelling words? The whole day, 4th grade, it's been like all these things happening, and the 3-in-1 with Miller. Someday he'll have to get up here and tell us about his 3-in-1 shampoo. Being like the Trinity. I mean, it's been all day. It's been all day. It's things we could connect to chapel and devotions, and I love it. I love it. And I love being here with you guys, and I love ending Fridays like this, and we have a gorgeous day out there. Don't forget, if parents, if you want to take your student with you, check in with the teacher. They'll let the office know to sign them out. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're here and you get to have a 30-minute date at the coffee shop. You want them to stay here. That's fine, too. If your parents want to have a 30-minute date at the coffee shop, you want them to do that. Is that Jack? He's shaking his head. Yeah. And speaking of that, I do have some transportation announcements. What you do for other people is really important, and it means a lot. And there were several students in the Sonlight students up here where we talked about them being tenderhearted and caring and welcoming to others. But I like what Mr. Butson said about maybe some of us need to practice it. Like, bring 2 snacks and give away your very favorite snack. That might be hard, and it might feel difficult, and you don't want to do it, but then you do it and you see the expression on someone's face, or you offer to do someone's chores for them a little bit longer. Yeah, that may not be very much fun for you, but think about the gift that it is to someone else. So thank you, Mr. Butson. Lord, thank you so much for today and the message here and the worship. Thank you that you care about us. You care so much about every part of our lives. We give you this weekend to use us, to grow us, and to do with us what you want. Help us to grow to be even better friends and to grow in our kindness and our thoughtfulness. We love you, Lord, and we all say, Amen. Have a fantastic weekend.